everybody. I don't know if you guys were aware that I was going to the University of Virginia to a rheumatologist. Uh, if you didn't, well, I went. And by the way, I think there's something majorly wrong with my camera. I'm not sure. Anyway, so it's like 5.5 hours away. We leave at 4:30 and we leave about 4:30 in the morning, and we get 10 minutes away from the doctor's office. And then we get in this, like, we come to a stop. And so we call where it's like backed up, so we call the the line to find out, what's going on with traffic. And it was backed up 10 miles. There was a big crash. And I was I was hoping that everybody was okay, of course, first. And then I was like, "Oh god, we're going to miss cuz we were on time." And we were only 10 minutes away, and I was like, "Oh, we're going to miss our appointment. We don't have enough money to stay overnight and stuff like that. Uh, so, you know, whatever. We were there, and we got to inch forward about 5 miles in an hour and a half. So we got there, and he said he'd work us in. So we got there, and this woman comes in to ask me all the questions, right? And she's really, really sweet, and I like her a lot. She's really sweet, and she asked me all these questions, and Sasha and I were giggling because it was like she knew me. She was asking weird questions that were things that, normal people wouldn't know. And I was like, oh my god, I might really actually have something, which I already know. I don't know what. It's like it would be confirmed, finally. Somebody would actually do the tests. And, so she's really sweet. And I was already nervous because, okay, I know this is a stereotype, and I hate myself for thinking this way. But it has become. I had the doctor's thing, and it said that his name was, I don't know, whatever. But I don't know the full name anymore, but it was Dr. Fu. F-U, right? Like Shoe Man Fu. There you go, that's what it was. And I was like, oh god, it's gonna go terrible, because he's one of those. And that's awful of me to say. So I was like, no, I cannot think that way. That is terrible. That's racist. That is awful. And that is not who I am. So I got mad at myself, beat myself up, and stopped thinking that way. Now, this has nothing to do with any racial stuff, okay? It has to do with a rheumatologist who's an asshole, okay? Okay. He comes in, and he wants me to go get up. I was in extreme pain when I got there in the first place, like on a 9. He wants me to get up off of the table and go sit next to him so he can ask me questions. First of all, I can't hardly understand him. He's like, "Who had pray?" I'm like, "What?" "Yeah, I'm paying you what?" And I'm like, and Sasha, I was asking Sasha, and he's like, well, so I finally kind of understood him, and he's like, well, how do you know you have this? How do you know? He's like, how do you know you have gouty arthritis? And I'm like, because I was diagnosed with it by a doctor. He's like, well, how did they know? And I'm like, because my uric acid was extremely high when I didn't even have any pain. He's like, that doesn't mean you have it. And Sasha started to open her mouth for 1 second, and I was like, shh, it's okay. And he turned to her, and I'm not even kidding. He turned to her and started yelling at her, and said, "This is my patient, not your patient. You let my patient talk. It's not your patient. You understand? You let my patient talk, not you. I don't want to hear anything from you." So Sasha had to get up and leave because she was really upset, and I was going. I was like, oh my god, asshole, right? Because he's already intimidating me, and now I'm like, oh my god. So then she leaves, and he was just being a jerk. He's like, why did you switch from ibuprofen to Aleve? I'm like, because the doctor thought it was causing my headaches. And he's like, well, have you had less headaches? And I'm like, slightly, yeah. He's like, which works better? I'm like, I think ibuprofen works a little bit better, but he's like, well, stop taking Aleve and go on ibuprofen. Hell no, I'm not going to. Mm-mm. Nope, not gonna do that. But anyway, so he gets me up on the exam table or whatever, and he reaches behind me. He starts doing tender points, and I just want to punch the shit out of him because it hurts so bad, and it's supposed to. But he's Sasha comes back in after that. Like he examines everything and does hip stuff and my muscles and lifting stuff and all that kind of stuff. So then he says I have arthritis in my feet and that I need to stretch them out before I get up with a belt and it won't hurt. I'm like, okay. So he sits down, he puts this belt on my foot, and he's like, come on, really pull it, really do it. I'm like, I am. And first of all, it felt like my muscle, my calf muscle was ripping from my bone. It hurt so bad. And I was pulling as tight as I could, and he started pushing on my foot, and he was going, come on, come on. I'm like, I'm not pushing against you, motherfucker. Sorry for my language, but I really don't, it was a really bad experience. I'm like, I'm not pushing against you. And he thought that I was pushing against him, you know? And I'm like, no, my muscles are just tight. Right? So he got all mad and started yelling at me about that. So then he sits down and he's like, I asked him and I said, do I have the tender points? Nobody ever did a test on me. And he's like, yes, you have like 17 out of 18. I'm like, whoa. So that's exactly what I needed from my judge. So that was good. But he told me, get this. Anybody who has fibromyalgia, get this, okay? He told me that fibromyalgia is a symptom of me not sleeping. And that I need to just want to get better. And I just need to sleep. And he didn't give me a prescription for anything to help me sleep. He didn't give me a prescription for anything. He did say that I had bursitis in my hips. He said it was my fault, of course. Gave me huge steroid shots, and it's been hurting worse since. He said I needed to walk it out and exercise all this stuff out, and I'm like, I went and read about it, and yeah, you're supposed to do that when it's not inflamed. But not being able to sleep is one of the biggest symptoms of fibromyalgia. Why would I drive 5 miles to see this motherfucker if I didn't want to get better? Why would I be in school? Why would I be in school to make my life better if I just wanted money? Why would I be driving so far to see you? Anyway, so he gave me these shots. Made me walk around, and I'm like, yeah, it's better, whatever. Just shut the hell up, let me leave. I bend over I'm up on the, up on the table they examine me on, and I go to put my shoes on, and I couldn't do it. It was just too far away, and it hurt so bad. Everything hurt. So Sasha went to help me, and he said, oh, for God's sakes, she can do her own shoes, for God's sakes. Just like that. He said, just grab her head and push her down and make her stretch. Yeah. So, I was like, damn. So I got down there and was tying them. My face turned purple. I almost passed out because I was ready to fall. I lost my balance. He did a bunch of tests. I hope they come out and fucking slap him in the face. And I'm complaining against him because he was absolutely uncalled for. I got no medicine and a slap in the face.